But no, I first stopped at the Great Mall, and here's where I can enter and segue into a movie review. I went to see Alice Through the Looking Glass because it's been rated by Stone Gremlin Productions as not really worth going to watch. They really didn't dig it. I can kind of see their point. It was also funny that back to Alice and the Looking Glass. Back to Alice and the Looking Glass. It was all right. It was the characters that Tim Burton introduced in the other version return in this one several years later to go on another adventure through the Looking Glass. Although I thought the first one was more like the book Through the Looking Glass than this one was. This one was sort of its own thing. And her love for the Hatter doesn't make any sense because it really didn't establish that in the first one. But I guess they had to do something because all the other characters were silly. Although sending her briefly to an insane asylum was kind of a funny twist, but clearly she wasn't going to stay there. And they didn't really establish as to why Lewis Carroll was just so weird. And when he wrote those books, obviously he had a kind of an unnatural thing for Alice and her friend from the boat. The story is based on something odd about Lewis, just odd about that guy. But yes, needless to say, they didn't explore that. Alan Rickman's last voice performance was in this, the guy that played Professor Severus Snape. And in this one he was playing a butterfly, a caterpillar in the last one. Alice gets transported back to Wonderland. She finds out the Mad Hatter is sad because he thinks his allegedly deceased parents aren't really dead but are actually alive, thus leading her to Alice as an adult in this one and in the last one, which is weird. And she goes on. There's a backstory about a will and an adventure and a ship and all that stuff, but the backstory back home doesn't matter. It's the adventure. So she goes off on this adventure. She goes off to actually literally meet Time, played by Sacha Baron Cohen. Everybody was hamming it up quite well. I think the Stone Gremlins people were a little unfair to it in that it probably just wasn't their kind of movie. A sort of lighthearted, weird, strange, whimsical, like fantasy Alice movie. I suppose if there had been like if they'd eaten the magic mushrooms or found some mysterious herbs, then they would have liked it. But they didn't do that. They did drink that weird stuff that shrinks you and makes you bigger. But yeah, sometimes it was very strange because Lewis Carroll was probably on drugs. Probably, it probably explains it. But yeah, the guy who wrote the Alice in Wonderland books, and the Cheshire Cat was in it an awful lot more than the Hatter. There was the Queen of Hearts and the other Queen are apparently at odds because a long time ago they were little girls, and the blonde queen, the blonde princess, accused the red princess of eating the crumpet she wasn't supposed to. Thus the catalyst for the whole thing, which could be in the books. I don't seem to recall, but that could be something that was in there. Time travel is involved, and their future selves come back, and trouble ensues. I won't give away the whole movie that just came out, but and this is sort of a brief review. It's all right. It's okay. It wasn't nearly as contrived as the last 30 minutes of the Tim Burton one. Like Tim Burton's version of Planet of the Apes, he tended to go overboard and make it really strange. And the Hatter's eyelash with eyelashes inside them was nightmare fuel, but most of the movie was anyway. The time being a clock, mechanized clock man was kind of an interesting idea. And the seconds being idiots. But yeah. I guess that's... I don't want to give away too much because it's all in there. She messes up space and time by getting a hold of the chronosphere, which is a time machine, apparently. and she uses it to go back and forth through time to find out about what happened to the parents, the Hatter, and all that other stuff. And there are clues in the beginning to where they are, and there are clues near the end. The Queen's explanation for why the Wicked Queen's head gets bigger is kind of stupid, but okay, maybe that's in the book. I don't know. It's just an odd, but it's silly. So, it is silly. It's not meant to make sense. So, unlike unlike the ending of The Graduate, which actually does make perfect sense because if you think about it, just half a second. So, it's not that complicated. Although the Alice in Wonderland thing was quite a bit more complicated and weird, and there was a lot of visuals, not a whole lot of story, but a lot of visuals. It's funny that Humpty Dumpty gets broken and not reassembled, but and we get to hear Alan Rickman again, though he died about a year ago or so. But yes, Alan Rickman, David Bowie, and Prince, all those people, But yeah, that sucks. But here we are. Yeah, I got nothing else. So there you go. There's my review, and it's all part of the thing. If you want to split that up, put the review in separately at some other point, and have a separate review. Alice in Wonderland, Through the Looking Glass. You can. Or you can leave it in here and not do that. I don't know. Anyway, so, yeah, that's it.